Well, gents, thanks for taking the time to speak with us. How you good? How you doing?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, I'm good. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Obviously,
Feeling better.
we cannot start any interview off at the moment. It's been the case with everyone we've talked to without first asking how you've been coping with what is worldwide issues.
What have you been on?
Like school. I'm in year 12 at the moment, so I have to do online learning. It's been quite difficult. I'd say staying at home isn't the most difficult part because there's plenty of entertainment. You can still connect with your friends. I think the hardest part has been kind of accepting that the ATAR's a bit down the drain because I kind of had high hopes for this year, but yeah, everything's going great. Like really, just stay in contact with your friends online, keep the head down, keep working.
What's year 12 for us? What I'm trying to think.
It's the equivalent of the last year of school before you go into university, and at the end you get your. I should have clarified that before I started.
I saw his face. What is that?
So basically, in year 12, that's our last year of school before university. At the end, you get your mark, which determines which university courses you can get into, and basically where you're kind of ranked in the country.
Okay, so is that part of your curriculum? And like for us, we end at year 11, and then at 16 you might do 2 years of college, and then you might go to university. Is that it?
Yeah,
probably.
It's kind of. I think it's like the American GCSEs, isn't it? It's like the.
Well, no, I always watch in like TV shows. Everyone's like, "Oh, after college next year," but they're only 18.
Yeah.
Well, I always thought college is like a university, but you were just saying that university is different to college. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So it probably is the same equivalent. Yeah.
It's just the most important year. That's the important bit of information.
And what's your focus?
Yeah, pass would be lovely. Do you mean like subjects or?
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you looking to go to university to study?
That's a really good question. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I've got to study gent. I'm really interested in like physics. I love aerospace engineering and astrophysics. I know those are broadly different things, you know. It's like saying, oh, you know, like pumpkin and ice cream, totally different. But I'm interested in a lot of different areas of science. I could definitely imagine doing engineering. I could also imagine doing a trade, becoming an electrician. There's a lot of things I'd like to do, but I just want to maximise the chances, you know, so that I've got options at my disposal.
I love that. I love that, and I guess it's reflective of the music world that you know, and I know, and you both know that there's no point in you saying, well, I'm going to make a career out of being a musician, and I'm going to be a rock star, and I'm going to be selling those stadiums out, because that is simply not possible nowadays. Has that even crossed your mind?
Well, the thing is, it's always been like the music's the plan A and the other stuff's the plan B, but at the same time, the plan A is so unrealistic that the plan B kind of takes the primary position as the plan A, if you understand what I'm sort of getting at there. So it's not that we've ever kind of not considered the idea that the band could be something that might, you know, financially contribute to our lives, but I'm kind of taking on the sort of the idea that that's not its primary purpose. If it brings some money in, that's great, but by having my eye on some other prize, it means that I don't have to be dependent on music for money, so I don't have to be constantly disappointed with the results of that. And I also don't have to be, you know, broke, basically.
You haven't sold out stadiums.
Yeah.
And what about yourself? How have you been coping?
I just work full time at a hardware store here in Bendigo, and it's people aren't isolating, and it's great. It's beautiful, and I've noticed it a lot lately. When it first started to come in, the more average person would understand what's happening in all this, but now lately everyone's just going nuts. Everyone needs everything right now. And
everyone fancies a paint all of a sudden.
Yeah, everyone is just, because they're staying at home, they're isolated, they're coming to a hardware store because they're doing up their houses. So work's been really busy, and that people don't understand that we're really busy and they just need everything right now. So Yeah, isolation's going great.
It's interesting because over here we don't obviously get lots of Australian related newses, but all it ever seemed to be before it just went quiet as if you disappeared off the planet was that Australians couldn't stay away from the beaches, as if that sums up your entire country.
Yeah, everyone's just like, oh, do you want to go to the beach? Let's go to the beach. There's no pandemic going on.
Yeah.
I just want to dip.
So ultimately you are during this period going to release music, which it's still happening around the world, but whenever we talk to anyone again during this period, there almost is a certain level of guilt and apologeticness in regards to releasing music, as if you should hold off because people just don't want to have it and so on. Has that crossed your mind?
I think it would cross the mind of anyone who's even mildly kind of self-reflective and stuff. It's definitely crossed their mind that it seems really just distasteful to release music right now when people are kind of financially trying to just hold on and just make it through. But at the same time, we considered that we don't make a lot of money from our music anyway, and we're not actually asking for anyone's money. It's going to be up on YouTube. It's free to listen to anyway. And we figured that it was kind of a tricky thing because we thought as soon as this is over, there's going to be like bands just holding their stuff back over all this time because you can still write and do stuff in the quarantine. And we figured that once it's done, you're going to have all these huge, like super big name bands just like flooding the market with music, and that we're going to have a hard enough, of a time getting heard as it is.
Yeah.
And so we figured that maybe actually counterintuitively right now is the best time to release music, and that it might be
for a new band, anyway.
For a new band, at the very least, for a band that hasn't financially got anything to lose. Like, if we were a really big band looking at world tours and stuff, of course, this lockdown would greatly affect us, but it hasn't really affected us at all very much. Like, apart from band rehearsal, like, it's really not affected us much at all. And because we're not playing shows, the band rehearsals kind of avoid argument anyway.
It's good that you see it that way. I think it's important as well to have, like, that view as well, that people need release, and if you are trapped at home, say you are stuck in a period because you actually are ill, and music's a great outlet and stuff like that, and you talk about being buried as a new band, that's going to happen no matter what, as you said. So what difference does it make?
Yeah.
And everyone in the isolation, well, that I've been speaking to, they want, or they need something new to listen to. Everyone's like, oh, what do you listen to? I've been listening to the same thing for, this album, that album, didn't like that album, this one's good, but I just need something new.
It's kind of been, now that you say that, now that I think about it, it's been kind of this case of like sort of universal reverse psychology, right? Because every band's going, no, we won't release stuff now because like that's not cool. You can't do that. Like everyone's like in the isolation, that's not cool. And because of that, everyone's like, oh wait, your band's releasing something. It's like, oh my God, thank God! Like every band's disappeared off the horizon. And so by actually kind of going a little bit against the grain, not like paving a new road or anything like that, the fact that we're going a little bit against the grain might actually work to our advantage in terms of getting as many people to listen to our stuff as possible. And that's what we want right now, because that ultimately will lead to genuine fans who have a genuine vested interest in the band. Yeah.
Have you had much feedback up to this point for the EP and what you've been doing?
For the EP, we've had it's at a pre-release sort of a stage. So the feedback we've gotten has been sort of limited to pre-release reviews. All of those have been really, really good. You can kind of tell how good it, you get. You're always with the reviewers. You get people with different styles, and you have different people review it. And with some people, it's intrinsically obvious that it's not their cup of tea. And then, but even with people who are really into doom and not really into our sort of stuff, they were still going like, good production. I can really see that they know what they're doing, and there's people who like this music should look at this because they will definitely like it, and they're kind of giving us props. And so I think it's generally been really well received, but of course I'm incredibly curious to see how the general public's going to sort of, what they're going to think of it, basically. And it's, in terms of previous stuff, we've just gotten encouragement mostly, because it's been kind of localized to a small scene, sort of where we are in our immediate sort of vicinity. And everyone's just been really, really nice to us. Whether they actually like it or not, it's a completely different matter altogether. But I get the feeling that people, it raises their eyebrows. They're definitely kind of going, ooh, that's good. It's like, will they follow it up? And they're kind of just like on the fence. And I feel like with the EP, we can like give them a firm shove.
We're going to give it to them.
Do you find that because you are an Australian band, that works to your favour and against it, in the sense that since the digital age, you're no longer an isolated country. We now know more about your scene and your music. It's basically not based around AC/DC and Rose Tattoo.
Yes.
But there is an expectation almost when people hear an Aussie rock or metal band that you're going to be in that vein. So when you're not, it seems to get good attention, but also more pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I'd say being Australian gives us a bit of an advantage, not in Australia.
Not in Australia. No, Australians hate Australians.
And in my personal opinion, that is where it counts most. Because if you're talking about raw population density and just raw numbers, like just people per square metre sort of thing, it's probably best if we have a really good advantage overseas, because being Australian's exotic, apparently. Here it's not. Not at all. But I feel like Australians are really, really well received in Europe, and then we'll be able to capitalise on that. Sounds so shitty. We'll be able to
they like us more than we like ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be able to.
Whenever we hear an Australian up and coming band, all Australians are like,
another Australian
another
band.
one.
And when you see Europeans talk about it, they always go, the talent that comes out of Australia is crazy. So that kind of works to our advantage.
But Australians love the up and coming bands of different countries.
Yeah.
Oh, American up and coming band. Yes, that's great. Let's listen to them.
It's always grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, but Australians are like, go somewhere else.
I think as well, like, to a lot of people, when they picture an Australian band, it's why they automatically think of your Giants. But it also goes hand in hand with the idea that it's constantly sunny and beautiful and warm and everyone's happy and stuff like that. Whereas, for example, a British band is automatically a miserable black metal kind of thing. And Americans are rock stadium Bon Jovi style. I think it just goes hand in hand.
It really does.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a fair comment to make. Although some of the Australian metal bands very much, sort of take on from the influence of British bands like Architects, and there's a lot of doom and gloom here, despite the 45-degree temperature. Yeah, maybe it's doom and gloom caused by discomfort because of the heat. I mean, you could flip it to be like that as well. Like Australians are more angry because we're melting.
We had a very schizophrenic day today, though.
Yeah, it was we woke up and it was raining, and then it was windy, sunny
for like 2 hours. I got burnt, and then just absolute hectic rain for an hour, and then sunny blue sky.
The world, eh? So Prophecy then, debut EP. Give us some insight then into what kind of prompted a lot of the writing. Were there specific subjects you wanted to focus on per track, or an overarching theme for the 6 tracks?
Per track, there was definitely lyrical direction. I would love to say I had it planned out the whole time. I knew exactly what this was all going to be about. But honestly, it was just 6 tracks that sounded really good and they were really cool. And later we managed to somehow tie them together, put a little bow on it and go, there you go.
Yeah, this is us.
I don't think we started it going, right, we're going to write an EP, we're going to write 6 songs and start from... We already had 4 of them written or something like that when we said we're going to do this EP. And then we did a couple extras to top it off. But... it does have an overarching theme, and it does kind of have one concept that encapsulates all the songs, but it wasn't necessarily written as one long song sort of thing. All the tracks are very, very different and diverse.
Different.
Yeah, actually very different. Sometimes even cross-genre, which might bugger with some people a bit. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely song-by-song basis for that.
What are some of those that inspired? What thoughts were going around your head when it came to either writing lyrics or specific riff and stuff like that? Was it a very metal thing where it was dark and twisted and evil, or was it positives?
Well, Hollow was pretty based on would you say, the government?
Yes, we live in a society. It's very profound.
Like,
Yeah, it was kind of. I don't think our stuff really is based in doom and gloom. Even with some of our tracks, "Kill the Man," one of the tracks that we wrote, I came over that because I thought it was funny. Like, it's satirical. It's kind of the juxtaposition of the lyrics are all about like having murdered someone, and it's like kind of dark, but then the music's kind of like sort of like just a little bit too upbeat, so that it kind of like it's kind of a bit off, like we're kind of like trivializing something that's not
very tongue-in-cheek.
trivial. Yeah, very tongue-in-cheek, kind of black humor. And then we've got other songs that are kind of just hopeful. They're just really kind of nice, pretty songs. Like there's one about kind of it's like three, four. Origin.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Origin's all about as a person kind of trying out new things, getting kind of lost on your road. It's kind of the classic coming of age sort of story where you kind of get lost and you try things. But Origin's about that epiphany, the realization that you always come back to the place you belong.
You find yourself.
You find out who you really are, who your real friends are, and that sort of thing. So
very typical.
Yeah, a bit stereotypical, but it's definitely not doom and gloom, which I think is refreshing because, well, basically, so many bands do it so well. We just kind of figured, why would we do it just like slightly?
Yeah, we'll let them do.
Yeah, we'll let them do them and us do us because we really enjoy kind of.
We'll do
different messages.
Do the stereotypical type of stuff, and we'll let them do that.
Yeah, we'll be happy.
I think it's really interesting that you talk about more hopeful and less doom and gloom, because that's actually what I got of it. I have heard it. We have like half the review written. It's one of those where you want to listen to more and more. It's progressive metal after all. It needs time to sit. And one of the things I've taken from it is that it's varied, thrilling, and that it has that upbeat sound rather than unexpected, as I say, doom and gloom, particularly in progressive metal. And it's interesting because if you didn't know anything about you and you just went based off the promotional pack that comes your way and you see a band picture and you look at it and go, well, they're going to sound a certain way, and then it's not the case.
The one song, Better Unseen, that is probably the most different song of the EP.
Yeah,
it's the fastest.
Yeah, definitely.
But I came to Ed one day and I said, "Hey Ed, can you write a song that I can get people to circle pit to?" And he's like, "Yes, yes, I can."
And I think a lot of people don't realise that there's a lot of little like kind of. Basically, I love how you said that it's got to sit and you actually listen to it a few times to review, because that's one of the things that gets me kind of the most like panicked is that people will listen to it once and then be kind of like, that was weird. Yeah, that was kind of, yeah. But the thing is with Better Unseen, the more you listen to it, the more you realise it's actually slightly satirical in that of itself, because the drummer and I would always do like the drum beats and like the power metal, and we thought it was hilarious. And so I said, what if I do like the most power metal riff ever, and then I just like violently rip it into like progressive metal and put like all these like progressive new elements in that absolutely don't belong.
Progressive yarn.
Yeah, progressive yarn. And it really brings that across like pretty well, I think. And the more you listen to it, the more you realise that this thing's kind of a bit of a, a little bit of a satirical sort of take.
Good, I reckon.
But even though it's satirical and stuff, it's still a good quality song, and it's got a commercial pop sing-along chorus, and there's no shame in that. I think it's great. Sing-along.
I love the chorus.
Whereas a lot of bands really are like, oh my god, they can listen to it.
Melody? What is melody?
Yeah. It's kind of, we thought that we want to embrace like the traditional pop sort of elements and not kind of reinvent the wheel or attempt to reinvent it.
Well, I'm a very big pop listener. I don't listen much to the progressive and the yars. I'm a very good top charts, Billboard charts, all that. That's me, and that's where I bring the flavour.
Yeah, I think that's really a large part of how our sound sort of developed. We were always kind of poppy and commercial, but as soon as Dan came in, I just listened to really like periphery, the sugar, like there's more screaming, complicated, better, and then you listen to pop, and then it literally just like blended in a really nice 50-50, and then it kind of ended up
that makes
sound.
Ironstone.
Yes.
Well, there's no question that if you limit yourself to one specific genre and say, I'm only going to listen to metal because I'm a metal fan, and if you want to make music, that will be a mistake, because whether you like, I don't know, pop, hip-hop, rap, and so on, is beside the point. Can you learn from that? And in this case, clearly that has been the case for you guys.
Yeah. It was kind of... We've killed a man. You may have noticed. I did definitely go through an Eminem phase, and I was a bit younger and a bit more punchable, and that kind of came out in that song with that intro. You can really hear it's got that sort of like rap, like that kind of sort of vibe about it. And then I thought,
still punchable.
I know.
No one goes
Oh boy. Yeah, so basically, I'm aggressively white. Basically, that's my problem. I got no swag.
And our drummer used to be a trap.
He used to play trap music. He wrote trap music, and so the drummer and I were mucking around, and we came up with this like kind of sort of thing, and it like had this real like groove about it. And I said, what if I can put the guitar and like just make it really groove and like bop and we've made something heavy out of something that's kind of a little bit comical sounding like rap. But yeah, we just haven't limited ourselves at all. We've just kind of gone, if that sounds cool, we're going to use it.
And you've also kind of layered a lot of the tracks with some unique effects here and there as well. Now, bear in mind, I've listened to it a couple of times, and tell me if I'm picking up the right thing. So, Downpour, is it kind of Middle Eastern twangs I'm hearing in that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Japanese stringed instrument. Yeah, it's a
I
koto.
thought it was a sitar.
No, it was initially a sitar, but then it sounded a bit too... And I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. It sounds a little bit...
What's the difference?
Sitar's kind of more... sitar's kind of more desert Arabian sort of sound, whereas the koto's Japanese, Southeast Asian. It was kind of a fine line because I was desperately confused. Like I was like, if it sounds mildly foreign, I want it in the song. You know what I mean? And then I'd kind of mix stuff up, and I had on the one hand like kind of Middle Eastern and then Southeast Asian. And then at the end, I decided I want it to sound. It's kind of like the theme song for like a tsunami wave and monsoon rain in Japan. Like it's got that real sort of sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have gone with you. I thought it was a sitar as well. But also, you're not afraid to use a bit of synth, from what I can hear as well. Is that something that you enjoy, synthwave, things like that?
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool. It really accentuates the sort of prog modern sound. Jack and I are really into... We like dubstep, and we like really feel-good music. You can really get some nice arpeggios and some really good stuff going with that. Not to mention with the arpeggios, they kind of have like a regular sine wave, and because it's like consistent beat, you can weave the guitar in and out in between it and give it more syncopation, so it actually makes it heavier. And yeah, we just thought it was really a really interesting idea to just listen to stuff that was really uplifting, that we really liked, and go, I just love the sound of that, and to just incorporate it. And also, it's not a completely unique thing to use synth. Yeah, a lot of bands have been doing it and have been very since when? Like a good example, Voyager, another Australian band. They're like 80s like pop prog metal.
Like
yeah, they're 80.
They're 80 years old.
They're like 80s pop prog metal, and they use all these like synthesizers and. Yeah, so we kind of figured out pretty early on that it's definitely acceptable to use like really 80s synthesizers. And it also has a slightly kind of, not satirical feel, but it's got like, it kind of brings like, what is it, like...
I don't know.
It's a familiar sound, and so it feels good. Like and it really has like just that warm sound, and even if you kind of laugh and go like, it sounds a bit 80s and stuff, that kind of like... It's kind of reminiscing, like you kind of hear like a bit of that warmness of the past and like those kind of nicer times or with the music and stuff, and it like really integrates in.
Phil Collins synths.
Yeah.
I think as well that nostalgic feel, as say, will matter depending upon age groups as well, more than anything else. You know, if I'm a 15-year-old listening to it, I may not be able to reflect. I'm not 15. I can reflect. I'm an 80s child, so there you go. What's your favourite track of the six then? Which one are you the most proud of?
All right, do you want to do favourite track on 3?
I was going to say, because that'll depend on the band member, the day of the week, the month, and the temperature.
All right,
because there's really...
What's yours?
Right now.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3,
Origin.
Oh, what?
I love Kilderman too. We really don't know. I think...
They're all too good.
Different for a different mood. If I'm feeling kind of like...
No, that's fair. That's a fair point.
They really do encapsulate different moods, which I also thought was a cool thing too, because you don't necessarily always listen to a release from start to finish. But like with other bands that have a very definite style, I find myself going, I can't, like after 3 songs, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Whereas it's really good for these bands that are super eclectic. I can go, I feel like this track or that track or this track, instead of kind of having to like be in a particular mood. I think I love Origin as a song, the way it makes me feel, and the way the lyrics work with the music and the sort of just the general vibe of it. Because when we were writing it, I got very strong vibes just writing it, going, million miles from home, that all just, and then you said seduced by the great unknown, it all kind of worked.
Seduced.
Yes, seduced.
That's my little
contribution. But it just has a really beautiful sound. I just think about, because I'm only 18, like I'm still at my origin, but I just kind of think, almost thinking about myself in the future, like how far I'm going to go and stray and how much I'll come back and what will stay the same and what will be different. And like in 20 years time, you know, I might be in a different house, completely different everything, but there will be certain things that are the same, like whether that be
arenas.
Selling out arenas, being rich, that sort of stuff. But
people line them up everywhere.
But yeah, actually mostly people, just my friends being around and stuff like that. So Origin as a song, I think, is my favourite because it just really is a really good mood and it's something really positive. And it's good to kind of pull me back down to the ground and make me kind of think about, it kind of humbles you because you think about, no matter how far you get, how much you think you know, the origin's the origin, right? And so I really love that song. But musically, like I love Kilderman. I love how the guitars like do the screeches and scrapes and stuff. So every different song's got different parts that are my favourites.
Well, it's good as well because you've only got like an EP that, as you say, each song can be listened to in a different way, in a different time, a different place and matter then, which works fantastically for the modern world of streaming, for playlists and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so put yourself on a bill, both of you, think individually, put yourself on a bill with 3 bands that could either open for you or headline for you, that I guess are the most influences or most important bands to you and Ironstone overall. Who would you choose?
I feel like you choose Periphery.
Oh, dude, obviously. I'm just trying to think of it.
Opening for you?
No, well, if it's 3 bands, is it 3 and then us?
Yeah, 3 and you.
Put us at the bottom. I'll put us at the bottom.
No,
I, feel like it's overly ambitious to try and...
You're getting to book the show. You can put yourself at the top.
We are the show.
Without stepping on any feet or anything, I honestly think the biggest...
glad to support
Brrraaains. I absolutely love Periphery. They're really been a huge influence. So they'd be somewhere at the top of the bill, given how big they are and how influential they are. I know I'm not the only one who loves Periphery. Like, that's a very common theme amongst metalheads because they're just genius. So Periphery would be up there. Local Melbourne band 12 Foot Ninja would also be there as well. They, I'd say they kind of changed my mindset about what the guitar's role is in the band. Before that, I was really into Steve Vai, and I thought guitar soloing was kind of the be-all and end-all. But then when I heard kind of what they were doing, it became like down-tuning the guitar, and the guitar kind of acting as an extension of the kick drum was kind of the new sort of motto. And then after that, it stopped being kind of like self-indulgent soloing and that sort of stuff, and we really started to like write for the songs and to write to make the whole song good. Sometimes I do a solo if it needs it, if it doesn't, if I feel like it. And sometimes like really simple solos or just a couple notes sustained that's got emotion. So I'd say 12 Foot Ninja really like pulled me to where I am right now. So Periphery, 12 Foot Ninja. Voyager are really cool. Yeah, honestly, just for cool factor, I'd probably say Voyager.
Yeah. Nice and varied.
Maybe the Veronicas if we're lucky.
What about you?
I'm not a very big Periphery fan, but I'd probably put 12 Foot Ninja up the top, and then Voyager. Probably us because we're pretty cool as well. And I don't know about the bottom one. Orpheus Omega are pretty good. Orpheus Omega are bloody good.
And they're all such good guys. And one of the guys in Orpheus Omega, Chris Malco, mixed that EP too. So that would actually make the show really fun.
That would make. All right, there we go.
I hadn't even considered like sort of bands on our sort of like level in our local scene.
Orpheus Omega on our type of level. Now who's got a big head?
But there's also another band that I absolutely love that I put on as an extra band also. I love Ebon Ivory. Now, they're a little Ballarat band, and I'm obsessed with their stuff. I listen to it all the time. They're my most listened band in the last 6 months. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm pretty big.
And they're they're just very much like us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like they're a couple of years older. They're from Ballarat. We're from Bendigo, both from the little towns. They're a few years older than us, but like their music's also really hopeful and interesting. Like really, it's really
very nice.
It's nice music. It's good
Yep.
music. It's not like doom and gloom. They're definitely the ones who stand out, and really love their stuff too.
What's then been the highlight? I mean, I know ultimately this is your debut EP, so the highlight really hasn't happened yet. But up to this point, what has been the thing that stands out? And I guess, have you had that moment where you've been like, shit, this could be something?
Yeah.
Probably, no, one of the highlights is when saying Chris DeMalco mix and mastering the EP. Even him saying that it's a great EP, it's very well written. It's probably one of his favourites. That's, for me anyway, that's a big accomplishment. For someone so highly godlike in the Melbourne
community,
the Melbourne metal scene, for him to say that this is very well done for a bunch of kids from Bendigo.
It was good validation.
Yeah, it's very good.
I think that was definitely a highlight. Also, we've had a bunch of different people mix different stuff. We've always had good results. But with Chris, on our very first, what would you call it? Not amendment, what's it called? The first draft, when he sent it to us for the first time. Yeah, the first mix.
First amendment.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. The first time we got it back, it was so close to being perfect. It was just amazing. Like, I listen to it and go, this just sounds absolutely amazing. And the only things that were problematic, they were like little synth bits that you hadn't even realized, like, oh, that's in there? Like, oh, that's a weird thing to put in there. Like, all these little quiet bits, and then once we discussed it and he put those back up, we're like, literally, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Just don't take it, that's perfect. And in the past, we've had really good results and stuff, but there's been more wrestling and miscommunication, but Chris just really, really got what we were...
He got the music we're going for.
He understood what we were
straight
going
away.
for, yeah.
And, we can't thank him enough for that.
Highlight. Well, more importantly, the point in time where I kind of thought this could definitely be something.
About when the guitarist fell for Ninja, did he recognise you?
Oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah, I went to I'm endorsed by this guitar company called ET Guitars, and they're a little a little guitar builder in Mittagong in Sydney. And we Mittagong. Yeah.
Never heard that before.
It's in New South Wales.
Okay.
And they built a guitar for me. E.T. Ernie Taylor. Ernie built a guitar for me. And I went up to the show and he gave it to me. I was super duper impressed by it. It was beautiful. I used his guitars. They're all 7-string multi-scale sort of thing. One in the background there. That's the spare one. That's the black one. And because the other one's with him at the moment. It's a long story. It's quite complicated with the guitars. I'm attempting to sort it out as we speak. But I went there and he said, oh, how would you like to stick around? So I did. I stuck around and I got to have like a little tag in the booth and I felt quite important. And I also could talk the leg off a chair. So I ended up talking a lot to the customers and selling instruments and like going, here, try this, and this pickup's from this range with this neck and this finish. And then he was going, you're really you're quite good at this. Like, you've got the ability to kind of talk and sell. And so I kept coming back and back and back. And on the second year, Stevic from 12 Foot Ninja was there. And so I went to him in his Line 6 booth and I ended up getting to talk to him for like 40 minutes and stuff. And we chatted and got along pretty well. And then the next year when I came, he like recognized me and then we hung out and chatted again. So that was definitely a highlight in the music career. Yes.
It is. It absolutely is. So, EP right now is the focus. 29th of May. We're at the time of recording still a few weeks away from that. What are you thinking and hoping for the remainder of 2020? Obviously, handcuffed. We're all handcuffed. All bands are handcuffed to a degree. But are you kind of picturing and thinking about getting out live and stuff like that?
We hope for it. But we don't know what the Australian government's doing at the moment. So
we can be optimistic, but honestly, if I go with my gut feeling, we'd be pretty lucky if we managed to play a show. I reckon by October, November, December, we might be able to get a show.
Yep.
It depends so much because we've had, in our particular town, we've had no cases which some people can go, oh, fantastic. Oh, well, we've had cases.
Like
we've
a
had
dozen.
Yeah, but
Where
a
have you
dozen.
been?
But yeah, like compare that to like 60,000 deaths in America and stuff. It's like barely any 100,000 population. And the issue with that is that it means that people are still susceptible to it, and we don't have a vaccine, obviously. So it might sweep in another second wave, and the second wave might be 5 times more aggressive than the first. And they might go, right, everyone back inside.
Yep.
And
we write our second EP.
Yeah, right. Second one. So the plan right now is this is being recorded now. On the 15th of May, we're releasing our single Downpour. That's going to be with a video. That's like one of the songs from the EP.
Yep.
We're going to do a premiere of that as well. With who are we doing it with? We're doing it with Metal.de in Germany for the European premiere, and in Australia. No, there's no premiere in Australia. It's just in Europe. And then on the 15th, it'll be released with a music video. Then on the 29th, we've got the EP release, and then God, don't know what to do after that. I guess we're just going to promote it and try really hard to get our name out there. And we've got clip ideas for all the songs, like music video ideas for each individual song. And Origin actually was like a good way, midway done, half done, and then the kind of
then we got
restrictions came
restricted
in,
hard,
and we're going to do like Dan walking down the streets of Melbourne and stuff like that. And so maybe it's possible that if the restrictions get lessened a little bit, then we might be able to just quickly run off and in the space of a couple of hours film that and then just edit it all together and have another video. But that's the kind of the only plan we have for now because we, don't really know what the future's going to hold exactly.
It is. Everyone else is the same way. It's a matter of, wait and see. Just wait and see. No matter what country where you're from. We're talking last night. I was talking to someone in Sweden. Same problem. Just wait and see. Right. Last but not least, then, bit of a deep one for you. During this period, so however you've been affected, whether it's widely or only slightly, is there anything you've learned about yourself or the band that you didn't before know?
Ed's highly addicted to video games.
I wouldn't say I'm highly addicted.
Where have you been for the last 2 months?
I've been perfecting my Minecraft.
What are you playing?
Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft.
Like all the big boys do.
All the big boys playing Minecraft, playing blocks of Lego.
This isn't even answering the question, but yeah, I love playing like Minecraft, Rainbow Six Siege, Call of Duty. I love just mixing it up. But for me, it's more social. Like if I'm playing with Dan or the drummer Jack or any of my friends, it's just social. Like the games are kind of just incidental. It's just something to do while you talk, and I really enjoy it.
Other than that, I don't think I really. Oh, I know. Well, I think a lot of people have stayed inside. I know you've probably stayed inside. You've probably thought about it more than I have. But me, nothing much has changed. Really.
Because you're essential.
Because I'm an essential worker, I guess.
Yeah.
Not much. I still wake up, go to work, come home. I don't have much time to just sit at home and think and learn extra abilities, I guess, like juggling. Yeah. But I've always wanted to.
I can actually juggle.
No, I rub it in.
I'm not shitting you. I can juggle. I'd say for me, I'd say that when everything's kind of been taken away to a degree, like school, social stuff like that, one of the things that I really rely on structure. I think that's something that could be said for a lot of people. I do definitely it depends on how I feel. Sometimes I do really revel in chaos and impulsivity and being able to go, I want to do this. But the kind of lack of, not structure, but lack of direction, kind of structure on a bigger continuum kind of bothers me. Not that that's necessarily surprising, but I think that now that school and friends and everything have been taken away, the things that I miss the most aren't necessarily the things that I thought I'd miss. Like the school, the idea of year 12 being kind of, buggered and stuff is kind of incidental. It's more my friends and stuff like that. And I think that the band members are more important as individuals to me than like the school or the rehearsals or that sort of thing, that it's just the individuals that are really important. Because our band's a unique situation. Like we really kind of started as when we were little kids and like have gone through members, and eventually we've had so much time to develop a skill set that the band members have really been picked based on personality and temperament rather than being a fantastic shit hot guitarist, because we're talking about 15-year-olds when this band's kind of getting formed, so there are no real shit hot guitarists at 15.
Right.
I couldn't even touch a guitar.
But we just basically Ironstone consists of all of my best friends, and so that's
and me.
And Daniel.
And me.
And
But
Daniel.
I just picked this cutie up one day after school and drop him.
That's
off.
actually a really interesting story. I never take the bus home from school. I've done it 5 times in total. One time, totally ticked my mum off. She said, "That's it, little shit. You're taking the bus and you're going to walk home." And I went, "Right, fine, fucking will." And I went to school. And then I was going home, got on the bus, got out, and all of a sudden it started to just pour rain. I'm like, "Oh, you know what?"
It's a bit of a downpour.
And then Mum was like, "Oh, you can, ring me and I'll pick you up." I'm like, "No, I'm going to walk home myself, big man. I'm going to walk home." So anyway, I'm walking down the street, down the side of the highway, and it's pouring rain. And Dan was driving his car, and he must have seen the back of me and seen the ponytail. I'm like, "Oh, shit, that's cutie." And so he's driven up and pulled up next to me and going, "Hey mate, you want me to give you a ride? Hop in." And I'm like, stranger danger. That's all right. Home. And then he said, "Oh no, wait, you're in that band, Ironstone." And he was like, I'm like, "Oh, okay, well,
Maybe the stranger doesn't know who I am.
if he knows who the band is, it's fine." So I got in the car with him, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, so what do you do?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm singing and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, no way, that's crazy." And he threw me in a ditch. No, then he drove me home. Mum's like, "You bloody freeloader, how'd you get home?" I'm like, "Oh, this dude gave me a ride." And then
She called the cops, found me, got me arrested, and then I came home one day and I sang.
yeah, and we found out he was a singer, and so we paid for his bail and took him into bed.
So now I'm on home arrest. I'm stuck in the house.
If he hadn't have pulled over to pick me up, that's prophecy right there, isn't it? Something was meant to be, because that is bizarre.
Prophecy, child.
Yeah. Prophecy or abduction.
Yeah, that's the
prophecy
word.
sounded better, to be honest.
Kidnapping.
Yeah, I think through the whole process, mate, I've just learned how important individuals are to everyone. That we are social creatures at the end of the day, and that even people, introverted or extroverted, or people who kind of swing wildly between the two, that people are really important.
I really miss the pub. About it.
That's a good takeaway too.
On that bombshell of we'll wrap it up there. Guys, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Having
much.
a great time with us.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?